Hello, everybody. My name's Ben Robbins from the Lost World of Movie Props. I'm here with Jack McKenzie. How are you doing, sir? Oh, sorry, it's my fault.
That's right. I've been strangled by cables before, you know. I'm fine, thank you very much. It's a great day, and everyone's enjoying themselves. That's the main thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's been hot today as well, hasn't it? It's been
Well, you
beautiful.
don't notice in there. But
Oh, yeah.
it's like coming out of Saturday morning movies. You're blinking like a bat, you know.
So have you met lots of fans today? Because I saw your table's been very busy.
Yes, well, I mean, the great thing is that the loyal fans come from all over the world. Whether it's Mexico City, when we had 250,000 over a weekend,
Wow.
or Miami, or Orlando, or Texas, and it's a worldwide club. And you know, the great thing about it is everyone's so well mannered.
Yeah, of course.
There's no pushing and shoving, there's no anxiety, and particularly America, people say "sir," you know, and they're so nice. And you get invited to people's houses, and they're very gracious wherever they are, and it's part of the great Star Wars family.
Awesome.
It really is.
So when did you get into acting? Was acting always on your radar, or was it something you fell into?
Well, it's funny you say that, but I was actually a police officer.
You're a police officer? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to be careful what I say to you
No,
now.
not at all. No. But the thing is that I was in the old-fashioned police force called the Lothians and Peebles Constabulary in Scotland. I'd come out of the Royal Marines, and that was the one force that would take me in because I was under height.
Oh, wonderful.
Right?
So you're in the Royal Marines as well?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
wonderful.
And what happened was that I became the chief constable was a great patron of disabled, disadvantaged children.
Yeah.
I think he was the chairman of about 100 charities for disability. And we used to have these things in major cities, Aberdeen, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and I think London did it. The taxi drivers would take children for picnics. So we used to escort these taxi drivers all to the beach. The kids had streamers and cups and balloons and stuff. And when we got to the beach or the countryside, we'd help with the kids and wheelchairs and stuff. And this particular incident was that the fire brigade normally helped us, but they were busy with a fire. So we were left with a kind of excess number of children to handle. And I had all these kids in wheelchairs getting on the beach, getting bored. And I thought, what can I do? I know, because I had laryngitis as a kid, so I've got a falsetto. I can use a falsetto, and I said to these kids, "Hello, my name is Fiona. I'm 5." And these kids fell about laughing. I said,
Yeah.
Can I sing you a song? Speed bunny boat like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor.
Well, they were crying with laughter. And this guy came across and said, "Excuse me, how long have you been doing this?" And I thought he meant being in the police. And at that point, I said, 5 years. He said, "Could you do that voice on radio?" I said, "Hold on a minute, I'm not an actor, I'm a police officer."
Yeah.
"Oh," he said, "I'm a great friend of the chief constable's. I'm sure he'll give you time off. You couldn't have a job apart from your job when you're in the police. He said, I'm sure he'll let you off to, you know." So the chief said, as long as I didn't make any money went to charity,
Yeah.
I could then do it. And I got involved, because living in Edinburgh, you get involved in the Edinburgh Festival, and going around all the different shows by students and all this sort of stuff. And one night I was going around checking licenses for these premises, and I went to this review called Bristol Review. It's a Bristol University called Bristol Cream, and it was absolutely dire. It was dreadful.
Really?
And I stood in the dark and I said, "Oh God, who wrote this rubbish?" And the voice beside me said, "I did." It was the young producer who was the son of the Assistant Commissioner of New Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
So any thoughts I had been promoted and the Met was gone. But he said, "Could you do better?" I said, "Well, why not?" I was in civvies. So I got up on the stage, told a couple of very bad jokes, got a laugh. And this bloke was standing in the wings. He handed me a card. He said, "I'm an agent if you want to contact me." His name was Campbell Godley.
Yeah.
He lived in Glasgow. Anyway, being in Edinburgh, I got involved with other things, other productions, met other actors and so on. Got into a bit of telly. And my first major telly was The Prime of Mr. and Brodie with Maggie Smith.
Nice, yeah.
I was only playing a Bobby, directing kids across the street, but that was a start.
Yeah.
And suddenly by 1972, I'd done quite a bit of work. And I thought, well, I got a part of the local Bobby in Sutherland's Law, which is a running series there. And I thought, I'll take my chances, why not? So I met another actor who worked rather well, and he said, "Look, when you get to London, if you're going to London, it's the only place to go," he said. He said, "There's a pub in Wardour Street, there's an agent right above the top." So I flew to London, and I got to Wardour Street, walked in the pub, and they said, "Oh yeah, mate, it's upstairs, the agent's office." So I went upstairs, sat down, and this tall woman came in and said, "I'm looking for a beery face for a Guinness commercial. You'll do."
Nice. Straight
I was
away.
off. Kept me alive for a year. Found a little room in Peckham Rye, And incidentally, it was £18 a week then. I checked it up the other day. It's £750,000.
Really?
It's a tiny cottage. And then there were I got jobs here and there, and commercials mainly. And Sutherland's all called me back to Scotland, and also a few other Scottish productions because of being a Scottish actor. And then I got a job at the National Theatre, because what happened was somebody rang me and said, could I direct? Well, the only thing I'd ever directed was Traffic.
Yeah.
But he said, it's an Aussie guy. He said, well, Jack, it's the Australian Musical Association, and we're doing a concert, and we'd like you to direct the Soldier's Tale by Stravinsky, and we'd like you to play the devil in it as well.
Oh, wow, nice.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I got some musicians together, and this young guy was a drummer, and he sat at the back, and he did rather well. His name is Simon Rattle. He was the percussionist, Sir Simon Rattle. And we did this thing, and I got 17 quid for it.
Yeah.
And the next day I got a phone call. I thought, my phone's going to be cut off or skint. And this woman said, oh, you're Jack McKenzie. We saw you at the Australian Musical Association last night. Would you come to Aquinas Street, SE1? I don't know what it was. So I got there. It was the National Theatre.
Yeah.
And they offered me a contract for a year.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Just straight off the bat, man. Like,
So I did that, and then out of work, of course, I got a job at Cinema International Corporation in Piccadilly, and somebody said, we need a telephone operator. Can you operate an eyeball telephone switchboard? I said, yeah. I'd done it in police headquarters.
yeah.
So I sat there, and it was Paramount and the Universal Pictures. I was calling Hollywood all the time, and all these different studios.
Nice.
And I read that Cornelius Ryan's book, A Bridge Too Far, had been bought by Joe Levine, and I thought, well, why not? So I plugged in. I rang his office in New York, and the girl said, I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Levine is not in his office at this moment. Can I give you his home number?
No way, you got his home number.
I rang it, and this voice said, yeah. And I said, Jack McKenzie, actor, I understand you're doing A Bridge Too Far. Well, Miriam Brickman's casting it, Richard Attenborough's directing it, Twickenham Studios, bang.
Yeah.
Cut a long story short, I got the job, and it was you've probably seen the film.
Yeah.
It's the bit when they're going to blow the whole of Arnhem up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And every car in Holland was coming to see this spectacle, right?
No way.
And this Dutch policeman said to me, oh, Jack, he said, for goodness sake, have you not taught to direct traffic like this, And I said, I'm an ex-policeman. I said, give me your orange sleeves.
Nice.
So there I was, directing traffic, And this poor car pulled up, and it was Richard Attenborough and his wife, and Joe Levine and his wife. And the window went down. He said, oh, Joe, this is Jack. Jack, darling, he trained our actors to be soldiers. And the window went down. You're Jack McKenzie? I said, yeah. You realise you called me at 4 o'clock in the goddamn morning?
No way. Oh, time difference. Yeah, of course.
But as he drove away, he was smiling. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And the film continued. And all I can say is that Richard was very kind to me. And after I did A Bridge Too Far, he called me in '81 and said, would I come out to India and do Gandhi? And of course, in between, of course, was The Empire Strikes Back. After A Bridge Too Far, all these Americans were coming to Holland talking about Star Wars, and we thought it was another war film.
Yeah.
So I got back to England, and my agent said, oh, they want you to go to Elstree for a space thingy. Empire Strikes Back.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, great. And I mean, and I've been very lucky. I'm 81 years of age. I've been down here for 50 odd years now, and still working. I'm narrating books at the moment, but I worked with Uma Thurman and Matt Dillon in the house that Jack built in Sweden. I did The Woman in Black in Gothenburg in Sweden.
I love The Woman in Black.
Yeah. Well, I played all 5 characters.
Yeah, wonderful.
And then I was at Newbury, the Watermill. I did Hobson's Choice, lovely play to do, and 4 musicals: Dirty Dancing, Paul, A Strange Kind of Hero, City of Angels. All
nice, yeah, wonderful. Yeah. You got loads of work on there.
Well, I'm, and as I say, I'm narrating books for an author now, and a guy called Barney Broom. He's written this wonderful series of books. I'm not advertising, but I know nothing about computers, right? But this is about a boy who's a computer geek, who discovers he's into computer games in a big way, right?
Yeah.
If you put a chip in your wrist, you can join the game.
No,
and
nice.
you become the character.
Yeah, I like that idea. Actually,
it's a series of books, and they're absolutely. And I get to play all the parts, from Abraham Lincoln to Nelson to Hitler to Mussolini to it's great.
Wonderful.
Actor's dream.
Yeah. So you have to do a lot of research on all your characters. You just sort of fall into it.
It has been that, but a lot of my brain is locked into stuff I learned at school, and things you pick up along the way, and accents and things like that. And I've always loved. When I was a kid, you remember Saturday morning movies? I don't know if you ever saw them, but my granny would give me, because I was brought up by my grandparents. My folks were killed during the war, but she could afford sixpence, 2.5p. And I would go to the cinema, and when all the other kids were screaming and fighting in the stalls, I was transfixed by these figures on the screen. I really was. And later on when I did City of Angels, playing Buddy Fiddler, he says to the writer, movies are shadows. They're light, they're dark, their faces 10 feet tall. I never thought I'd be one of these 10-foot tall faces.
Yeah.
And I am. And it's a joy. And I met my wife in outer space.
Oh, really?
1974, I got this job on Space 1999.
I know Space 1999, yes.
Yeah. And she was the casting director. And we had tea just once in 1974, lost touch for 21 years, and met again. And we've been together for 27 years now.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And she still bosses me around, which is great.
I got a fiance at home. I'm completely on your level, don't worry.
And that's a strange thing because, Hammer Films, with whom she worked, and several others, they used to make the films of television series. And one of them was A Holiday on the Buses. And being such cheapskate films, they used to, you could come on the set, could you come and be a vampire today, please, And she was dragged in to do Holiday on the Buses, and now she gets invited to conventions. And it's great fun. And listen, I'm so glad. It's been the last jobs I was doing, the musicals, were the loveliest young companies I've ever worked with in all my career. They were just so dedicated. They want to dance and sing, and you go out on that stage with these young people, and they're just so good at their jobs, and they really entertain.
So obviously, because you've done so much, do you not find there's so much pressure now? So you can just walk out on stage and own it now, but compared to when you first sort of started out, or are you just very natural at all of it? Could you just go out there and just let loose?
Well, it's rehearsal, and more rehearsal. But standing in the wings, it's the most incredible feeling. There are, particularly in Dublin, 3,000 people in the audience entertain us, And all right, I wasn't playing Baby, I wasn't playing Johnny, I was playing Mr. Kellerman.
Yeah.
And it's a thrill. You just want to get on there and do your bit, because that piece of stage, that green bit, which is about 40 feet by 30 feet, is your home.
Yeah.
You know every step in it. And you're familiar with it, so the audience is there to be entertained, and you're not aware of them.
No, of course
they're
not.
aware of you, and that's the great thing.
Yeah. It's my second job. I'm a professional referee on the British wrestling scene.
Oh my God!
So I do wrestling shows all over the place. But when you're in that ring, you don't see anyone,
that's your life.
and you're just in the zone. And
that's your world,
it's
isn't it?
so much fun, and it's just an awesome experience to be able to do.
Watching body being flung into the audience.
I've done all sorts. You wouldn't believe how my trousers pulled down in the ring, everything. I've been slapped about, but it's part of the show.
God. Well, actually, I did. For the Return of the Saint with Ian Ogilvy, Tim Moran, who was on Bridge Too Far with me, he and I played bodyguards. Now, I've never done jiu-jitsu in my life, or judo, but we did a sequence.
Yeah.
For the opening, the guy comes to inspect what's going to happen to this Chinese diplomat, and we're two bodyguards showing how we can do judo.
Yeah.
I was bloody sore after it, but I showed them. It was good.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's a very unnatural thing to fall. So learning to land it and fall, it's a real learning experience, mentally and physically.
Yeah,
so
you've got to learn to relax.
Yeah.
I learned a bit when I was parachuting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a height to fall from, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Well, funny, that's another job. It was it wasn't a training, an information film for the carrying of heavy loads in Hercules aircraft, And we're at 15,000 feet above Brights Norton.
Wow.
And we had guys from the SAS who were going to show a halo jump, high altitude, low opening, and I was to talk to them and talk to the officer. And off they went, off the ramp, And the director said, "But Jack, you've parachuted, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah." "Well, could you stand on the ramp and talk to camera? 15,000 feet above Oxfordshire." Hold on a minute, I'm talking about rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did it, but I'll tell you something, it's a strange experience with, England laid out before you.
Yeah, of course.
And you might join it very rapidly.
There's not a lot of great ways to go in this world, is there?
So, why not? Go with a bang.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jack, it's been wonderful talking to you. I don't want to keep you away from your table too long.
Not at all. It's been. I love coming to this convention because, as I said at the very beginning, it's a worldwide club, and everyone is there to it. They love the characters. They love the stories. The original story was just so revolutionary,
Yeah.
And it's great to see fans from 3 to 93, you know, they make the film. The fans make the film. It's a saga and a continuing saga.
Yeah, of course.
And I thoroughly enjoy every minute. Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure, man.
It's a pleasure for me.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.